Guten Tag und willkommen to das Frankfurt International Flughafen. Today I'm going to be flying with Lufthansa on a Boeing 747-400 bound for Singapore Changi. The Queen of the Skies, the Jumbo Jet, the Humpback. These are three of the most common nicknames for the most iconic and, in my personal opinion, the most easily recognizable aircraft in the sky, the Boeing 747, which certainly needs no introduction. Before I give my review on the Lufthansa 747, I have to give an honourable mention to Frankfurt Airport, and I mean, what an absolutely incredible plane spotting location. I spent a good portion of my day on the rooftop of the car park north of the airfield, as Frankfurt Airport is host to the most unique aircraft types that are not commonly seen in Australia, such as the A340 variants, which unfortunately will soon be retired. Located approximately 10 kilometers to the southwest of Kaiserdom St. Bartholomäus, Flughafen Frankfurt am Main, or simply Frankfurt Airport, is the primary airport serving the city, region of Germany, and Germany itself by passenger movements. According to Skyscanner, Frankfurt Airport handles roughly 1,300 to 1,400 flights per day, meaning between the operating hours of 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., roughly 75 flights depart and arrive each hour, which is an insane number of aircraft movements. As stated in my introduction, today I will be flying on the German flagship airline Lufthansa, which is one of the many carriers a part of the Star Alliance network. In addition, Lufthansa is also the flagship airline in the Lufthansa Group, which consists of a handful of mainly Germanic European airlines, such as Swiss or Austrian airlines. Lufthansa and other Lufthansa Group airlines operate out of Terminal 1 here at Frankfurt, and they have their own dedicated check-in area for business class and first class passengers. There are numerous self-serve kiosks present throughout the check-in area for both premium economy and economy passengers. I am very fond of all the little details provided on these kiosks. By that I mean the previewing of seat selection and baggage allowance. However, unlike the Jetstar ones back home, these do not print good quality boarding passes, instead simple and plain paper ones. As my bag had already been checked in earlier on in the day, there was no need to visit the bag drop. However, from what I observed, bag drop was autonomous and took only a few minutes to complete. Once the check-in process had been completed, I made my way underneath the famous Frankfurt departure board towards immigration and security, but not before checking out the Lufthansa store, which features a wide variety of different Lufthansa Group-themed items. I was most interested in the models that were on display, such as the Austrian 777 or ITA Airways A350. Tonight's flight will be departing from the Zulu gates, which is a part of the non-Schengen zone of Frankfurt Airport. To non-Europeans, hearing Schengen might sound a bit confusing, but to put it simply, the European Union or EU has abolished border control and passport checks, meaning all international flights between European Union countries are operated as if they are domestic flights, which allows for free movement between 27 countries. A rather interesting concept in my opinion, and I think a similar concept should be implemented for Australia and New Zealand, but I doubt that will ever come to fruition. Post-security and immigration is the usual duty-free shopping area, which unfortunately you are forced into. As is typical for European airports, gates are not displayed on the departure screens until approximately 1 hour until the scheduled departure time. This forces passengers to mingle in large food courts and seating areas for as long as possible, maximizing the profit for the airport and its businesses. I personally find this style of airport to be very clever, but it does mean that the waiting area tends to get very crowded, especially during peak times. Well, at least in my findings. Fortunately for me, I was able to figure out what gate was mine, so I didn't really have to wait around. Upon arriving at the gate, I got a top-down look at the aircraft preparing to take me to Asia, which today is a Boeing 747-400, registered as Delta Alpha Bravo Tango Kilo. Construction of this airframe was completed in November of 2001, being delivered brand new to Lufthansa the following month, making this aircraft 23 years old. Interestingly enough, in May of 2006, this aircraft was involved in an incident where the nose wheel collapsed on a pushback truck, causing major damage to the aircraft. Boarding for this evening's flight commenced on time at gate Zulu 25 and was called by boarding group. Lufthansa's 747-400s all have the exact same configuration, with 371 seats in a 3-class layout. There are 45 lie-flat business class seats in a 232 layout on the main deck, and an additional 22 business class seats on the upper deck in a 22 layout. There are 32 recliner premium economy class seats in a 242 layout, and 272 standard economy class seats in a 343 layout. This evening, I shall be seated in 49 Alpha in the second half of the economy class cabin on the port side of the aircraft. The economy class seat has 17.3 inches or 44 centimeters of width and 31 inches or 79 centimeters of pitch. There is a bifold tray table that extends towards you. In the seat back pocket, you'll find a safety card, duty-free magazine, and an air sickness bag. Above are individual reading lights only. Next to the entertainment screen, you'll find a spring-loaded coat hook. On the back of every tray table is a cup holder, which on some seats were broken or missing entirely, and between each trio of seats, there are 2 universal power outlets. Waiting at every seat is a soft pillow and blanket. Each seat reclines 6 inches and has an adjustable headrest with wing flaps. Finally, just prior to pushback, the cabin crew handed out reusable earbuds in these plastic bags. Soon we commenced our pushback from gate Zulu 25, 4 minutes behind our scheduled departure time. Taxied to runway 18 via November 5 and November. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. Once airborne, we made a single left-hand turn over the Monchbruch Nature Reserve, setting up a southeasterly course for Singapore. Flight time tonight is 12 hours and 21 minutes, covering a distance of 6,793 miles or 10,932 kilometers, cruising at 33,000 and 35,000 feet. Unfortunately, the cabin crew failed to dim the main cabin lights during takeoff, meaning I couldn't see much outside, but I did manage to spot the small city of Darmstadt, just south of the airfield. On their long-haul flights, Lufthansa does offer Wi-Fi to all passengers. However, it is not complimentary, coming to a cost of €5 for simple messages or €25 for full internet access for the entire duration of the flight. On previous Lufthansa flights, I found the Wi-Fi to be patchy and not really consistent, so I opted to skip the Wi-Fi, instead opting to sleep. On the back of every economy class seat is a 9-inch HD touch entertainment screen system, featuring a wide variety of different movies, TV shows, music, and games. I found the screens to be incredibly responsive and easy to navigate. The only downside is the moving map, which was rather basic and was in Chinese, not in English or German, which was a little bizarre. Shortly after reaching our cruising altitude over the Swiss Alps, the cabin crew handed out fairly large bottles of water, as well as a cracker mix, which was basically small Ritz crackers in different shapes. This was then followed by a cocktail service, to which I asked for a gin and tonic. This came with a slice of lemon, and was pretty good. Shortly after, dinner was served, to which we had 3 options: a beef stew, a chicken curry, or a vegetarian pasta bake. I chose the chicken curry, which came with a warm bread roll and German butter, as well as French camembert cheese. There was also a vinegary salad with sliced cucumber, carrot, tomato, and interestingly, eggplant. For dessert, a lemon chocolate mousse was served, which was a little strange sounding, but in the end was absolutely delicious. Dinner itself came with a generous portion of rice, pan-seared chicken breast, broccoli, red capsicum or bell pepper, and fava beans. All of this came in a fantastic red curry sauce, which wasn't too spicy, but certainly had a bit of a kick. Before I went to sleep, I took one final glance out the window, and down below was the relatively large Romanian cities of Deva and Hunedoara. One thing I failed to mention is that I had a full row of economy to myself, so I made a makeshift bed with the extra pillows and blankets I was provided. 8 absolutely fantastic hours later, I woke up to the Indian island of Rutland, which lies just south of Port Blair, the largest city in the Andaman Islands. Unfortunately, this meant that I had missed the opportunity to see the North Sentinel Island, one of the most dangerous islands on the planet. Eventually, the crew switched on the cabin lights, signaling the start of the breakfast service. Breakfast this morning was fairly typical, with 2 options available, a hot option or a cold option. I chose the hot option, which came with a small tub of strawberry yogurt, a chocolate muesli bar, another warm bread roll, more German butter, and a small sachet of strawberry jam. This also came with a selection of drinks. I was offered coffee, but I declined, preferring a cup of orange juice. The actual meal itself was scrambled eggs with cheese, chives, and sautéed mushrooms. Whilst enjoying breakfast, down below was a few Thai islands west of the mainland, and just south of the holiday destination city Phuket. On board the aircraft are 13 bathrooms, 5 for business class, 2 on the upper deck and 3 on the main deck, and 8 for premium economy and standard economy. The economy class bathroom at the rear has everything you would typically expect of this aircraft type, including a baby changing station and the Lufthansa branded hand soap in its metal casing. Just prior to descent, we passed by the last major city visible, that being the Malaysian city of Penang, including an absolutely spectacular view of the airport. Soon we commenced our descent into Singapore. As the aircraft slowly commenced its descent back down to Earth, we entered a holding pattern over Kundar Island. This was due to the sheer volume of aircraft at the airfield, and a runway change that was also currently in progress. This meant that our landing was delayed by approximately 20 minutes. Most arrivals into Singapore involve a descent over water, either over the Singapore Strait or Johor River, depending on the direction of the approach. I for one prefer the southerly approach into Singapore, and in today's case, I was fortunate enough that we approached from the south, which not only gave me great views of the cargo ships that have been parked in the Singapore Strait, but also Singapore itself, not to mention the absolutely fantastic wing and engine view of this iconic aircraft. However, it was a race against time to get on the ground before the large storm looming to the north set in. Now please enjoy this unedited landing. After landing, we taxied back to Terminal 2 via Whiskey 5, Whiskey, Quebec, Papa 1 and Papa 8. We pulled into gate Echo 8, 24 minutes behind our scheduled arrival time. As I reluctantly stepped off the aircraft, I thanked the crew for the absolutely fantastic flight in German and made my way into Changi Airport, turning my attention away from Lufthansa and towards reclaiming my bag. Before I give my final thoughts on this flight, in order to enter Singapore, all passengers, including Singapore nationals, must fill out a CGAC form up to 3 days prior to departure. This form can be completed online, found through a simple Google search. This of course excludes transiting passengers and specific reasons for Singapore residents. So, I just flew on board Lufthansa's Boeing 747-400 service between Germany and Singapore. What are my thoughts? Well, as always, let's start from the beginning. The check-in experience was rather simple and easy to follow. The kiosks Lufthansa has installed are among the best I have seen in Europe, at least in the time that I spent here of course. I do have to mention, however, that much like Virgin Australia's kiosks back at home, these kiosks in Frankfurt do not print good quality boarding passes like Jetstar does, so there is room for improvement. Security and immigration took no time at all. I practically walked through the whole process, all while gaining a new stamp in my passport. On board, the seat was pretty good, though it's definitely showing its age, considering most of the economy seats had broken cup holders. Other than that, the padding and the recline was fantastic, albeit pretty annoying for the person behind, as once the person in front reclines, the amount of room between you and the seat in front reduces significantly, and it was pretty difficult to do anything. The food was phenomenal. The fact that the chicken in the curry was pan-seared and not boiled like I'm used to is an incredible step up. The mousse was also a great star of the show, being creamy but not overpowering, a great way to finish. Finally, the cabin crew on board were kind and considerate. During the boarding process, the cabin crew assigned to my area of the aircraft went above and beyond to help everyone out, even guiding us to our seat and advising us if we had a full row or if there was someone sitting beside us. So, would I recommend you to fly with Lufthansa in their long-haul economy? Of course I would. Lufthansa has proven to be a fantastic way to travel. I paid just shy of $1,100 for this one-way flight from Copenhagen to Singapore via Frankfurt, which certainly isn't the cheapest flight you can get from Europe to Singapore. That would probably be on Scoot, but it was very comfy, so worth the extra $500 in my opinion. The little details is what left a good impression on me, and it's why in the future I will definitely be flying with Lufthansa long haul again. Probably not on a 747 or A340 unfortunately, but who knows as to where, when, what class or on what aircraft type. Only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe, and make sure you check out the other videos that I have posted if you want to see more. And I have said this before, but I now have a Discord server. Feel free to join. The link can be found at the top of the description. And as always, feel free to press the notification button too, as it will let you know when I upload again, which happens every Friday at 8 PM Sydney time. And I hope to see you again in the next one. Auf Wiedersehen!